Hello, my name is David Attenborough, and today I bring you Melmoth Forest and Nuts, a game about watching squirrels, because some squirrels aren't the lucky ones. Right, I'll stop that there in case everyone's already clicked off. But this is the game called Nuts, which is a puzzle surveillance game. Entirely unique gameplay mechanics. Thoroughly enjoyed it during its runtime, and it deserved a David Attenborough intro, quite frankly, so there you go. Nuts sees you play as a researcher who's been sent to Melmoth Forest by Dr. Nina to watch the squirrels. These squirrels that live in this forest only reside in this forest. They're not really available elsewhere, so they're considered an endangered species. But in order to make sure that the whole habitat stays kind of protected, you need to watch what they do and how they interact with their environment so that you can then pitch for Melmoth Forest to remain basically a protected area and not be dug up for industrialisation. This then means that you have two very distinct gameplay elements that take place one in day and one in night, and the game continues on this cycle as you solve each puzzle at your own time and at your own pace. In the daytime, you're given stationary cameras because we've kind of gone back in time, although it doesn't necessarily tell you what the year is. But we're here with cameras that run on VHS tapes and that they can only kind of stay in one position. And what you're doing at the start of each puzzle is you're given a GPS marker to say, we're interested in these squirrels because they're doing this behaviour, and we know that they kind of start or end up in this area each night. And what you'll do is then pick up your cameras and place them on the tripods and kind of manoeuvre them around so that you've got a decent view of where you're starting off at. You'll then have some other cameras that you can kind of position around as to hope to try and find out where they went next in the journey, or maybe where they're going, depending on the puzzle. And what you're doing is then going back to your caravan that you live in, and it will transition to the night cycle. And this is where you'll review the footage of what you've captured during that night. And you'll be rewinding and fast forwarding through your cassettes to see over like about a 30-second segment of footage what the squirrels are doing. And it replays the same pattern night on night. But what you're doing is then on each of the night footage, you'll kind of understand more of where they've come from. So you'll kind of make a mental note in your head of the direction and kind of whether they turned anywhere during the camera view or something like that. So that on the next day, you'll pick up your cameras and you'll now have different positions on where to place them to get the next part of the journey. And each puzzle revolves around this mechanic, just in different styles. So it might be that you're finding out where their nest is. It could be where they're stashing away something. It could be that you need to find out where a couple of squirrels get together for a chat at midnight, as it looks. And it's quite fun to do because A, the squirrels are quite cute and they bounce around and look a little bit devious. But B, they've got some weird behaviour that starts to become part of the main story that's going on throughout the game. So, not only are these squirrels like endangered and unique, they're also exhibiting weird and wonderful behaviour for what they gather, how they talk to each other, how they interact with you in the caravan. It's all quite quirky, and you get these missions for what you need to kind of research through Dr. Nina, who's on the other end of the telephone. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Firewatch, where you're having a kind of friendship over the phone with someone. But the thing with Dr. Nina is that she did your job 15 or 16 years ago. And so she's got her previous knowledge about what she thinks the squirrels are doing. And so when you're coming back with footage showing like they've gone a bit nuts, she's like, this doesn't make sense at all. And she's also slightly worried about what's going on about the funding and the research back at base, because it seems a bit odd that she's been given this money to do such a strange piece of research that you can take up all your time with. So there's a couple of kind of subtle mysteries going along at the same time. I will say it doesn't go completely full tilt on the mystery. The gameplay and the real kind of pull here is having very different environments in Melmoth Forest for each mission for you to explore and find out what the squirrels are up to. Not only do you have like the stationary video cameras that you can press around as well, on the CRTVs you've got zooming and moving around features so that you can then print photos, and you then have to fax those photos through to Nina to complete your missions. But you also actually have a little digital camera that you can take around and take other photos for yourself. And what I really like, especially if you are playing it in like a beginning to end period, because this game can be done in about 4 or 5 hours perhaps, is you can print out all of your photos and then just pin them up all over your caravan, and it becomes your own little home, complete with all of your little adventures. And actually there's quite good fun to be sitting there just capturing the squirrels in weird and wonderful poses and then printing out the photos and sticking them all on your wall, and then you're like, "Mama, I've gone nuts too." And it seems like such a simple gameplay cycle, but I was super invested in it, and thoroughly enjoyed playing. The one thing I will say though is that the art style is going to be real Marmite for everyone, I think. I initially was really drawn into it, then I got annoyed with it for a little bit because of the bold colours, and then I grew to like it again by the end of the game. And it's because the colour palette changes on each level, and some of them I think spark or like twinkle more in the eye than others. It always is darker obviously at night time, but that's quite handy because the squirrels then show up as bright white or yellow sometimes, so that you can really like pick them out in a dark of night. But yeah, I think some people might just go, "Oh, I'm struggling with that kind of aesthetic." But if you enjoy weird and wonderful games that have got a narrative thread running through them, and puzzles that you can just mill about on and do at your own time, at your own pace, without any kind of prodding and poking, then this is absolutely a game for you. It's got similar vibes, I'd say, to Firewatch, if I'm honest. But this is much more gameplay focused than Firewatch. Firewatch just let you kind of wander around and be told a story and you talk back and forth. Here, there is a proper puzzle loop for you to follow. And I feel like actually you get more invested quicker as a result because you're busy doing something. My only complaint about Nuts would be that you have to pick up and carry each camera at once, and sometimes when you've got 3 cameras going and they're all starting off at your caravan, I'd love to have been able to have just got a bag and pick them all up and put them in and then just drop them off one by one. But because each level is quite concise in terms of its area, it doesn't become too much of an issue for long. So yeah, that's Nuts. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Recommend it to anyone that likes a quirky story and a interesting kind of puzzle gameplay loop. It's out now. You guys all take care, and until next time, keep your nuts where they belong. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.